Hello, friends. Welcome back. It's another episode of the Mindful CEO. I am the
Yo!
other co-host, joined by the real co-host, Aaron Hendon.
Yes, yes, the real co-host. That's me.
That feels better
That's
to you,
that's
right?
me.
Because
The
last time
OG.
I introduced you as the other co-host, but today I am the other co-host, joined by the real co-host, Aaron Hendon.
Yes, we are co-pilots. There is no pilot. It's just two co's.
Yeah, there you go. I love it.
We are cheap co's.
We're walking this home together, man. Ram Dass would be so proud
So proud if he weren't dead.
if you weren't dead.
But he only gets stronger in death. He's
How do we set this up today? Because we in the green room we had a couple
yeah.
different really interesting.
All right, let's start it up with it's all about me.
Okay,
How's that?
well, obviously.
Obviously, because I'm the original co-host. Um, and so I'm writing my book. I'm out to get the book published. It's going to get published. It is definitely happening. I don't know when, but it's definitely happening. Um, at some point, it's just got to be like, I got to stop fucking talking about it. But I got to talk about it enough to get to the point where it's going to be
Yeah,
stop talking about it.
yeah.
And I had a book editor send me comments on, what works and doesn't work, strengths and weaknesses of the book. And one of the weaknesses is that I repeatedly defend
Mm,
or apologize for being woo woo.
hmm.
And that even the term woo woo is, in fact, degrading, diminishing,
Defensive.
deprecating. Yeah. It's not so, yeah, maybe it's defensive, but it's deprecating to spiritual or yeah, spiritual practices, really spiritual practices, because,
Sure.
and I don't know, it just get it. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, first of all, I know that the truthiness of that is uh unavoidable. Okay. I have no, or I'm not like, yeah, but, or really, I don't think that. It is, I'm quite clearly,
Yeah.
you know, that way about that. And, uh, and then I don't know what to do with it because it feels that way to me, And so I wrote the book from what feels right to me or what feels true to me. And she's actually asking me to take it out, which means I have to cause a transformation for myself, a resolution for myself, some way to get to feeling
Hmm.
solid with those spiritual practices being what they are.
Mm.
Which, so we
Yeah.
wanted to talk about it because I want to get myself there. So we were going to take the crayon for a walk in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's that for a setup?
Yeah. That's good, man. I like
I
that.
think that's the least rambly setup I've ever done.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Look at you. Your mindfulness practices are paying off.
Fucking slamming.
Yeah. We could talk about that, or we could keep setting up the other pieces and turn over all the puzzle pieces before we put them together.
All right, we'll keep turning over. What do you have in mind?
Well, there was just the stuff about like um the metrics of things, like what, as a culture, we don't the reason I think we try to justify or defend woo woo is because we can't point to some scientific study that says no, there is a direct correlation between how much mindful meditation I spend and the results I produce in business. And so we try to explain away our successes by being like, well, maybe it was luck, or maybe it was, the divine, or maybe it was just, it feels weird. It kind of goes back to the last conversation about deserving, undeserving versus unworthy. Like I just had a huge quarter. You just had a huge quarter, and you can't point to anything necessarily. And so it feels, and it
Well,
could
here's the thing.
feel like
It's
it's
not that I can't.
undeserving.
Yeah, it's not that I can't point to anything. It's that the things I point to are
Right.
not cause and effect. They're not
Right.
two in, one out. I can point to things.
Sure.
I can definitely point to things, you know, I and I haven't. I have this quarter, but I have enough of a track record this year that I know the less attached I become to how things work out.
Yeah.
Things just keep working out. Like
I
I
feel
don't
like,
need it. I don't need to keep such a tight grip on everything.
yeah,
The more I let go, the more things happen. And that's what's happening.
yeah.
And that's and we're you and I mean, the fucking flag is slaying the dragon of hustle culture, one mindful moment at a time. And here I am
Uh-huh.
clutching to the myth of, but I'm not on the phone
Right, right, right. Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
not doing the work. And and
The in air quotes, the work, meaning
totally.
the call, the traditional old paradigm of how you produce a result. But you are doing the work of, and maybe more so than ever, you tell me, doing the work of putting yourself in mindful spaces.
Yes, I'm more than ever doing the work of putting myself in mindful spaces and pulling on the threads or walking down the road of that which I'm interested in. So I'm also not just
Mm.
laying in bed.
Yeah.
I'm not just
You,
sitting on a
yeah.
cushion meditating.
Taking
I'm
inspired action.
Yeah, I'm taking action that's
Hmm.
inspired, even if
Hmm.
I'm not inspired in the moment,
Mm.
even if it
Okay.
occurs like going to the gym, which occurs like I don't want to set my alarm tomorrow, but I know that I'll feel better when I'm done. So I do
Yeah.
that, right? So there's things like that, like, doing the dishes or doing the laundry or, things
Mm.
like that, where in the moment, it's not like I'm only doing what I feel inspired to do. Like,
Yeah.
no, because I would never do the fucking dishes. I literally have never been inspired to do the dishes. I'm inspired when the kitchen's clean. So I put myself in spaces where I'm living in that future. And
Yeah.
so whatever task that occurs is menial in the moment
Mm.
needs to get done is getting done. And the more I do that, the better my results are. And like, you said, this is, I'm going to have a quarter this quarter, I'm going to make more money than I did in the last. I haven't made this much money since like 2020 in a year. I'm making more money this quarter than I did in my best year.
Wow. Wow.
And, um, and what I have to show for what so there's so I do know that the work that I know that I'm doing work. Okay. And I gotta sneeze. That's why the pause. Woo!
Bless you.
Ah,
Woo.
thank you. Um, so I know I'm doing work. And even as I say it, I feel like there's that little need to justify or prove that it's hard in some way.
Right.
Right? Like
Mm.
I have to underline I'm doing the dishes. Like it's just like there's this need to justify the
Yeah.
arduousness of it, right? Like which is a holdover from hustle culture,
Interesting. Yeah.
which I haven't which I'm interested in sorting out, which is why we're taking the crayon for a walk in this direction. Um, so then there's a couple of ancillary thoughts in there. Ancillary, what does ancillary mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
No,
like adjacent to or
adjacent. Yeah.
parallel,
Um,
connected.
One is fuck, but it worked when I did. It's just so difficult to shake the hustle culture narrative of
Yeah.
it's got to be work because I was thinking, all right, well, I have these agents that aren't performing on my team. I know they need to be on the phone. I know they need people to talk to. You got to build up your database. You got to do,
Yeah.
but
Right.
do we know that? I mean, you're Mr. Leads You Love. you know, you're Mr. Take Inspired Action. You're Mr.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
itself out when the work you're doing resonates. There's more than enough people in the communities that you do already love to participate in that you could connect with them. in
Yeah.
ways that were inspiring to you versus fucking hammering the phones.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and doing that in a mindful way. I mean, we, doubled our sales, more than doubled our sales as a team in
Yeah.
just being mindful.
Mm.
So I've got a mounting pile of evidence that it doesn't have to be the way
Hmm.
I thought it did. And
Mm.
I am arguing in the background for it really has to be hard.
Mm.
There's got to be some element of difficulty to it, which I could just 100% hear my dad. This is me channeling
Mm.
my
Mm.
dad's communication.
Mm. Huh.
It's just wild. It's why I don't, I mean, I will sort myself through it. I'm sure this is how I'll sort myself through it. But there's all that, like, can I really stand for, what? If you sat and meditated and, we're looking for how to get to the next level in your business, what you were up to, and
Right. Right.
that's what
Right.
you took to the
Well,
cushion, and you kept taking it to the cushion and then letting it go like a bird, and then you just moved in whatever direction that bird flew. Can you trust that the results would happen? And I don't have a lifetime of that. I've got this year which is so far culminated in a quarter that's exceeds my any previous year. Um, so is it sustainable? Is the other shoe going to drop? What if the bottom falls out? Then I look like an idiot. Then it was just luck. All that shit is
right.
fucking right there.
Yeah. I think I feel like so. On one hand, like you're describing Michael Singer, The Surrender Experiment, The Invisible Hand, like his whole book, that whole story he tells is him going into yoga poses just to shut up the voice, just to get to the present moment, and then showing up to serve whatever showed up in front of him, doing good, honest service and work and supporting people that showed up in his space. He ends up taking a company public. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous story ever, and it's true. And he just
My
talks.
sister knows him.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's so weird.
That's great. So, I mean, but he was one of the first people I know that started pointing to a cause and effect. I did yoga poses and the invisible hand showed up and then stuff happened. And the thing I wanted to point to that, um, it's almost like if you go way back in time to like, oh, I'm just, this is a terrible example. I'm just trying to share what's showing up for me. Like, let's say there is a group of people who they just run all the time. That's how they get around. How they get around is they run or they walk. But we haven't done any studies about it. But then we go, oh, they seem healthy. And we start doing tests on them. We go, oh, well, what we notice about this is that they take more steps than the average person does in a day. And their biomarkers are better. And it sort of pulls our attention to look for what's the cause and effect about that. But until that happened, until we started to measure it, we would have been like, oh, we would have attributed to whatever. We didn't have any data to notice why they are more healthy than other people. Um, it's like those what do you call those blue zones or zones where people like live to be 100?
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And then we go, why are these people living to 100 and others aren't? And we start going in and doing research about it. We start finding data. I feel like we haven't really done that with mindfulness. Spirituality hasn't, we haven't gone into spirituality and started to do metrics. Like, is there something here in data that could point to, and if we did, then there would a whole marketplace a whole economy would build up
Well, there's
around it.
okay. Well, there is. So there's,
Uh-huh.
it's I don't know if you want to say 70 years is nascent, but it's, since
Yep.
uh, mindfulness-based stress reduction rolled into the scene with John Kabat-Zinn, there have been
Yep.
80,000 studies, I think I quote in the book, some ridiculous number of studies sorting through the benefits of mindfulness, including increased sales, less depression, happier people, longer marriages, all the things. All the
Yeah.
things. So it's, and even despite that, and my knowledge of it, not
Hmm.
in, I was stumbling on the word intimate, but it's not. I don't have an intimate knowledge of that information.
Yeah.
But my certainly the cursory level of exploration of that information that I have doesn't displace my personal reticence in saying this worked for me, it could work for you. And even though I
Right.
know that it does, I mean,
But
on one hand, in moments of confidence slash hubris, I, I would I would say, and I got nothing to lose by saying it, but I could go into any sales team, and if the sales manager and the company were aligned and we're going to do the work too, I could train them in mindfulness and not get a dime and collect 12 months from now in the year over year increase. Give me a percent of your year over year increase starting six
right.
months from now, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think I can make $1 million doing that. I think that would be a no-brainer. I'm that confident in the difference mindfulness makes, except when I'm writing it out in the book. When I'm writing it out in the book, I
Okay,
feel
yeah.
like,
Except right. Which just brings us full circle to why we are defensive or embarrassed by woo-woo stuff, because you, having spent as much time in your life as you have in the space of John Cabot, whatever his face is, and like knowing this stuff, even you who are more of an early adopter than other people have this in the background defending hustle culture and other so in order for us to stand on stage, if there isn't alignment, because that's what I hear
yeah.
say, if there was alignment, I could go into a company and say, don't pay me anything, just give me a cut later, train them in mindfulness. But when you're writing a book or you're standing on stage or you're saying anything to somebody who you don't know who they are, we apologize for the crazy thought that we're going to talk about mindfulness leading to an increase of year over year production. And we go, this is a little too crazy for some people. It's sometimes even too crazy for you. And so we apologize for it or we defend it because I don't think it could be embarrassment, but I also think we're trying to earn our way into a conversation so that people can hear it. And we use woo woo as a disarming mechanism to be like, hey, let's just talk crazy for a minute. It's the same thing. Hey, let's go woo woo for a minute. Hey, let's talk crazy for a minute because I just need you to open your mind. Because I'm about to say some crazy shit that is not common in hustle culture.
Mm.
And so we use it as a sort of a carrot or some cheese, some like, hey, let's meet in the middle. Let's talk about something for a minute. So I don't
Well, it's
just,
also, on one hand, I know there's nothing wrong, but there's also nothing wrong with sort of, uh, okay, good. So you definitely want to uh, pre-address objections. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a
yeah,
sale in the world of sales. If you can figure out what the objections are likely to be and include in your presentation the answers to those questions, you keep the prospect from going through them because you're eliminating them as you speak.
yeah,
So it's a preemptive
yeah,
phenomenon. Now, there's a chance that you're putting objections in the space that aren't there. That's a pitfall of that sales technique. It's a pitfall
right,
of that is you're putting your objections
right,
in the space, right? The
yep,
places
yep,
where you aren't flat, which is what she's picking up in the book when she gave it back to me. These are not objections that other people have. In
mm,
fact, they're my
yeah,
concerns. I'm putting
yep,
my concerns in the space. I'm not letting people come up with it on their own and sort it out for themselves, which is, hang on, edit this. I'm working.
Yeah, great. And I didn't have to edit it even. I just hit pause, and isn't that great? Here we are
That's it,
back
right? You're
in the
back.
zone.
Uh,
Yeah,
so putting concerns in the space, you know,
yeah,
it's a big thing when I train people in sales is don't put your concerns in the space,
yeah.
which is what she's calling me out on, putting my concerns in the space. I'm afraid people are gonna think this is weird. Even though
Yeah.
I'm such a big proponent of I don't give a shit if you think it's weird, you know,
Yeah.
it's such a
Right.
place of inauthenticity for me
Hmm.
that I say I'm loud and proud out of the woo-woo woods, but I'm not. I'm hesitant. I'm cautious.
Yeah.
You know, I do not want this to occur as weird. And
Right. Right. Yeah. But if I just say like that again, that goes back to that whole thing about like when you're doing something before the early and late majority have embraced it.
Mhm.
Like when you're running for exercise before there's a world that acknowledges that's, then you could be like, oh, people are going to think I'm being chased or I'm being weird. And when, so you're just an early adopter who's leading a conversation in the world for something you're noticing. And I think it's true that a lot of people don't, especially in business, don't acknowledge that as a legitimate way to be in business. Hustle culture is currently the predominant agreement about how business grows. And you're saying, hey, there's something else. I'm not the first one, but I'm definitely
Before
one of the
you,
few. What's that?
before you,
Right. Yeah. And that there is, and so, and fast forward 20 years, 50 years, I don't know how many years until there is a new normal for an agreement in business that mindfulness is the predominant way now that we grow our business.
yeah,
That's
you know,
not
I
it
don't think
now.
it's anything more complicated. She's not asking me to do anything more complicated than simply stop apologizing for it.
Right,
You know,
right. No, I got that. I'm not even talking about her feedback to you. I'm
right? I
just
am.
looking at like the reason this is a thing is because it impacts us in this moment who are mindful CEOs because we have the same tension between I feel like I can't point directly to what causes results and could I produce the result again? I don't know. And there's this tension and doubt of like I want to believe Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks. I want to believe Michael Singer. I want to even believe my own lived experience that I just had the best quarter ever. And it's because I did these things, but I can't fully embrace that. I have doubt. There's tension about that. So I think it's just, I mean, it's good conversation because it's worth looking at beyond your book. It's just, this is a tension we as mindful CEOs are looking at. Like, can I go all in on this? I don't know. Should I have a backup plan for like
Right,
making 100 dials? I don't know.
right. And then we'll, you know, it's, you know, this is very much inside the autonomy course that I'm doing with Jeff Wilmore. Um, you know, or it's staying, it's essentially staying true to your purpose, to what matters to you. See, without having, so we could tie this around to, you know, like what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, because this whole thing really does come, there's a seed thought here, which is because hustle culture is not inherent. Look, if what matters to you is, you know, accumulating the most stuff in the least amount of time and the way, and doesn't matter how you get it, then maybe, you know, the lessons of hustle culture are valid. I don't know. I haven't engaged in that in a while, so I don't really know. I don't really, and I haven't engaged in that in a while because what matters to me is really not available in that world.
Hmm.
You know, what matters to me is the ability to direct my life, that
Yeah.
the ability to, you know, spend time with my family, the that the quality of the time I have, all of it is critical to me. And That's not available in hustle culture. I'm
Right.
confident in saying that. So if you're going to break from hustle culture and if you're going to head towards what matters to you and you've already got that you can't get it there, you can definitely get it here,
Hmm.
in this realm that matches heart with head. Jesus, is that the way that's going to come out? But I'll tell you why. I think you remember why, but hang on. Where's my glasses? What'd you do with my glasses? Why don't what the fuck?
Hid them from you.
Um, this is from yeah. So this is from that manifestation work that I did with a coach of mine, really,
Right.
Christine's coach.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
where right. So for those of you that don't know, Chris is my reference here. Um, I did some work with a manifestation coach of my partner Christine's coach. Um, did a little exercise on manifesting with us, which I thought was fascinating. And this has got to be 2 years ago now at this point. I don't have a date on these, but I ripped the notes out of my workbook because I wanted to keep these. Where she asserted that there is already a you on another
Hmm.
timeline, and in another multiverse, part of the multiverse, that there's already a you that has everything you want. And you just quiet down and go talk to them.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, sure, I could do that. No resistance to doing that. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And so I did that. I sat in quiet. And it was a version of me that already makes $1 million after taxes and comes back and is now here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm allowing my future self to mentor me, which is a fucking cool thought, right? I mean, that's just a cool thought, you know. And then here's what future me said, that how he got there, right? This is what I wrote. You stop pretending you don't love people. You gave up being awkward or resistant to putting love in the foreground, and you did it in a way that was fun. You stopped fucking around with your imposter syndrome. Does this not fucking just completely resonate with everything that we're just, I wrote this
Yeah.
3 years ago. I haven't read it really. I've read it once since, but
Hmm.
you stopped fucking around with your imposter syndrome. You leaned in on the work you've done from your zone of genius, court, course and conversation creating and delivering. Okay, seems like I'm fucking doing that. You know, if I had to
Wow.
lean on something where it's a $250,000 quarter, which is, if I do the math right, is $1 million a year.
Right.
Hello,
Right.
right? I mean,
Right.
there it is, right? You stop
Wow.
being so fucking distracted and scattered and focused on one thing: coaching programs, speaking, talks, conversation facilitation, which I
Yeah.
have. That's my whole year so far, has been really every time I go to work on my mindfulness course, someone
Mm-hmm.
calls me to fucking sell a house. I mean,
That's awesome.
right? I started
Yeah.
believing I make the difference. I stopped looking at the places I failed as evidence for I'm full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped collecting evidence for why I don't slash can't be great at this. I started to trust myself and look at all the difference I have to make. I started believing in the power of intuition
Hmm.
and the marriage. Where is it? And the marriage. Where's the next page? I don't know what the marriage. I think the marriage is heart and head.
Heart and head. It's
Heart and
got to
head.
be heart and head.
It's
Yeah.
got to be heart and head because it's my unique ability
Uh-huh.
to marry heart and head.
Mm.
I stopped avoiding doing the emotional work to release the shame, judgment, and awkwardness I carry, which is exactly how we got on this fucking call. That's exactly what right? I mean, this
Right.
is,
The woo woo defending the woo
yeah,
woo and
totally. The
right.
shame, judgment, and awkwardness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also stopped avoiding doing complete work. I started prioritizing breathing first, tapping, and finishing projects.
Mm.
Gratitude is a choice available to us. We're designed to focus on lack. We're raised to question, we're raised to think ambition requires dissatisfaction, to look at what's wrong. That's fucking shocking. I mean, what are we going to do here, people? What are we even fucking around with? Because, I mean, I wrote this 3 years ago,
Wow.
and all I've done since is take the steps that are, that are consistent with that. And I have on track to do $1 million a year. And here I am still dealing with the shame, embarrassment, and awkwardness of, did we really do that? Is that really reproducible? And that may
Wow.
not be reproducible for you or for anyone listening, but there is a future you that has what you want that you could talk to and you come up
Right.
with. And especially if you started to turn up there's more here, started to turn up your intuition and turn down your rational, which is really nothing more than your imposter syndrome talking, right? Those
Yeah. Yeah.
rational fucking thoughts. Um,
Mm.
I don't even know when the fuck I wrote this because this is I literally can't. That I wrote this 3 years ago is fucked up because this is where it showed up in the course, and I thought it showed up like for the first time when I was delivering it, but really I wrote this 3 years ago. Imperfect practice makes perfect, which is not something we deal with. One of the huge advantages of mindfulness has over most of any other discipline is you can't do it wrong. In fact, the moment you think the word, you're participating in it. I don't know
Mm.
when I wrote this. I had to have written this before after I delivered it in the course. If you spend even one moment intentionally being aware of how you feel in this moment, you're practicing it. The moment you become aware of your thoughts, even if it's just for a moment, you're practicing. Practicing mindfulness simply requires being intentional about noticing what's happening experientially for you any moment.
Wow.
All right. Well, that's crazy that this all came out of that conversation 3 years ago, or I don't even remember when.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out when. But you know, that's all and that's the coaching that I just got from my editor was okay, you still have shame, awkwardness, and embarrassment, and it's coming through in the book, and you have to, yeah, you got to cut it out. You
Mm.
got to cut that
Mm.
out of the book. And so I've just, forced myself into doing that emotional work to let go of that. And that's what we wanted to Cottywomple because that's what's there is I'm, our year, and
Mm.
that's so orders of magnitude bigger than anything I've done before, and it's freaking me out. Like, really? Like that's not. I don't know myself as that. The me that was here last year,
Right.
right, wasn't. That's not them. But this is the me from. The funny thing is, Chris, this is not the funny thing, a funny thing. And it's taken me 3 years to sort this out to this point, and that hasn't even completed it. So again, there's that demand and hustle culture for if it doesn't produce results right away, it's the wrong path,
Mhm.
you know. And this is 3 years going, but when I sat for that practice of the talking to the me in the multiverse, and I
Yeah.
know I've shared this with you before, I was like, sure, that's easy. Absolutely. There was absolutely a me. Like, I don't have a question about it. The multiverse exists. This is whenever, what was the Everything Bagel movie? Everything All at Once. Um,
Yeah.
uh, it's such a good fucking movie. Anyway, it was whenever that movie came out. This was all right around that time. So I think that's like 3 years. And uh, I had no hesitation or awkwardness or like I do not question that there was a me in the multiverse that already has what I want that I could talk to.
Yeah.
But when they said lose your awkwardness about this or marrying your heart and head and all that and doing that work, I was like, yeah, that's never gonna fucking happen. That's not even like a thing.
I'll talk to me in the
I was
multiverse,
like, yeah, there's a
but
me in
me
the
marrying.
multiverse, but changing the me that's here now, that's fucking not, that's right. That's not gonna happen.
Right. Mm.
And
Hmm.
and it's
Funny.
happening.
Mm.
And it's happening one mindful moment at a time. It's happening with every
Mm.
set. It's happening with every, you know, as I loosen the grip, on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
water that is our life, right? You cannot fucking water can only be held like this.
Uh-huh.
I'm holding my hands up in a cup if you're listening. You can't grab it,
Uh-uh.
but it can be held in your hands. You can drink from it. And we're learning how to do that. And I mean, I just hear the results that people get out of the 9 weeks with me. And I
Yeah.
know that that works. And the
Yep.
longer you do it, the more results you get. And I didn't start meditating. That was probably when I was on the road to being certified probably got on the road to be certified as a mindfulness instructor right around that time.
Yeah. There's a
It,
lot of places you're doing it too. Like you've done the daily guided meditation on Facebook,
yeah, it's now coming up on 2 years.
and you did your insight timer stuff, and you've been doing the 9 week how to live a grateful life in an effective world.
Yeah, that's all year. This is
You've been
probably
writing blog posts about. I mean, there's a lot of attention that you've put into a lot of inspired action you've put into uh, following, pulling the thread of and following this conversation as it's inviting you down that road. I feel like you keep taking the next step it invites you to take.
very much so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting exercise. It's a really fruitful exercise. Um, to have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this is, if we sort of move towards winding it down, I feel like this is you are creating a conversation and inviting others into a conversation for the possibility of what this is. And it's really where the Mindful CEO Mastermind, to me, um, holds some possibility for that. Like those that are in that mastermind, like where else do we get to go bring our questions or insecurities, the things we're defensive about, or the things we are embarrassed by, and yet still hold like a God, but it still feels like this is important or it's true. And there's something about the collective conversation of it that allows us to just keep going versus hide behind our embarrassment or imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about other people. I'm just thinking about the sales training and rolling that out and um, having other people step in. And I think that the first, what people want is the immediate answer. Well, how am I going to double my sales?
Mhm. Right.
And it's not a useful question. The question is uh, you know, what matters to future you? That question's got to get answered first. And people don't take the time to get that question answered. But without,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and I do the calling workshop, the True East workshop. It's useful. but only if you're quiet enough to really live into it and really see and really look and confront. Okay, is this a calling for me? Is this one thing I'm, you know, on my deathbed would be if I spent my time fulfilling on that intention, would that be useful? And until you get that, then I really do think the rest of it's a little bit bullshitty. The rest of it, it's in order to get more sales, and that's not going to produce it.
Right. Because there's no cathedral that you're building. You're
Yeah, there's
just
no cathedral that you're
chipping
building.
stone.
It just doesn't fucking matter. You're not building a cathedral. You're fucking
Yeah.
chipping stone, and you want to learn how to chip stone faster. Eh,
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Get a
Right.
machine that does it, which is, I'll use AI.
No, right. Right. Right.
That's
Right.
gonna get me there. And that's fucking what everyone's selling is, fucking AI. Did I say this out loud or is this in my dream that we're gonna start a conversation for AI, but it's authentic intelligence.
Nice. No, you didn't say that to me, but I like it.
Right. But that's what this is. This is authentic intelligence, not
Mm,
artificial
mhm.
intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
And
Hmm. Good, man.
that's a good one, huh? Let's stop
That's a
right there.
it's a beautiful crayon drawing
Yeah, there's a good one. There's a good
on
walk.
a canvas. Well, I know I would be remiss if I didn't invite those of you listening to get on the wait list for the next How to Live a Grateful Life in a Fucked Up World 9-week cohort. It's free, right? It's like this is your
Free.
chance to figure it out and put yourself in a process that allows you to start this
Yeah,
journey or continue this journey.
yeah, it's good. I don't think you can even hear what matters to you given the level of noise in most people's heads.
Mm-mm.
It's not gonna show, it's not gonna shout above
Yeah, right.
the constant threat of failing or whatever it is that you're dealing with. It's just never gonna show up. You've got to be here in this moment.
Yeah,
And in this moment, it'll totally show up. It can't, it's what's there left over. It doesn't even have to show up. You just have to get out of the way, all the other fucking noise that's in the way. So
yeah,
the
yeah,
thegratefulbreath.com is where you can get information on that, although it's going to be in January and I don't have dates and I'm not even particularly committed to getting dates yet. So
yeah.
chill the fuck out
Or go get on the wait list and
or
then
go
chill
get
the
on the
fuck
wait
out.
list. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to go
Um,
put a wait list up.
Yeah, good. That's the and then just know that on the other side of that is the mindful CEO mastermind, where it gives you the space and the chance to walk out the things that you are you know living in, leaning into.
Yeah.
So very good, awesome. Thanks everybody for being here, Aaron. Awesome, great episode. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.